It's a strange thing to think back on a film that felt less like a movie and more like a destination. A place you visited, a world you inhabited for 3 breathtaking hours. It's been 16 years since James Cameron's Avatar descended upon our cinemas, and in the bustling, ever-changing landscape of Lahore in 2025, the memory of it feels like a dream from another era. I remember the palpable buzz, the frantic scramble for tickets at Cinepax, the slightly cumbersome 3D glasses that promised not just a film, but a portal. We were a world still high on the novelty of the smartphone, a world where the idea of a truly immersive digital reality felt like the stuff of science fiction. And then there was Pandora. To write about Avatar now, in the wake of its record-shattering success, its equally ambitious sequels, and the endless discourse it has spawned, is to dissect a cultural monolith. It is to look back at a film that was simultaneously hailed as a revolutionary leap forward in filmmaking and dismissed as a simplistic, derivative fable. Both assessments, in their own way, are true, and it is in that very contradiction that the enduring, undeniable power of Avatar lies. It is a film of profound technological genius wrapped around a heart of pure, unapologetic, and archetypal simplicity. It is a cinematic paradox, and perhaps that is why it remains so indelibly etched in our collective consciousness. Let's be honest with ourselves. No one walked out of Avatar in 2009 humming the score or quoting intricate lines of dialogue. We walked out talking about the woods. We talked about the way the flora glowed with an ethereal, bioluminescent life when touched. We talked about the Leonopteryx, the great, dragon-like beasts that ruled the skies, and the visceral, terrifying beauty of the Venator. We talked about the Nausicaa, their towering, graceful forms, their expressive feline eyes, their intricate system of neural cues that allowed them to physically connect with the world around them. We walked out of the cinema, blinking in the harsh Lahori sunlight, feeling as though we had just returned from a foreign land, our minds still reeling from the sheer, overwhelming sensory detail of it all. This was Cameron's masterstroke. For all the talk of its story, Avatar's primary narrative was the world itself. Pandora was not a set, it was an ecosystem. The level of detail, the result of years of painstaking development, was unlike anything we had ever seen. Every plant, every creature, every floating mountain felt as though it had a history, a purpose, a place in the grand, interconnected web of life that the Nausicaa called Iwa. The technology that brought this to life, the revolutionary performance capture system that translated the actors' every nuance onto their digital counterparts, the photorealistic CGI, and the groundbreaking use of 3D, was not just a tool, it was the very medium of the story. The 3D wasn't a gimmick that threw things at the screen. It was a window that deepened the world, pulling you through the screen and into the dense, vibrant jungles of Pandora. It created a sense of presence, of being there, that was utterly unprecedented. I remember watching Jake Sully's Avatar open its eyes for the first time, seeing the world through his newfound Nausicaa senses, and feeling a genuine sense of wonder. The technology allowed us to share in his awe, to experience the liberation of running through a forest in a body that was stronger, faster, and more attuned to the natural world than our own. It was a form of cinematic empathy that was purely visceral, bypassing the intellect and speaking directly to the senses. Of course, this groundbreaking technological achievement was tethered to a story that was, to put it mildly, familiar. The criticism that Avatar is simply dances with wolves in space, or a high-tech retelling of Pocahontas, is not without merit. The narrative beats are, indeed, well-trodden. A cynical, disabled soldier from a technologically advanced, imperialistic culture is sent to infiltrate a native population. He goes native, falls in love with the chief's daughter, and ultimately leads his newfound people in a rebellion against his former masters. It is a story as old as colonialism itself, an archetypal narrative of the colonizer who develops a conscience. The characters, too, are drawn in broad, unambiguous strokes. Jake Sully, Sam Worthington, is the reluctant hero, a man given a new purpose. Neytiri, a fierce and captivating Zoe Saldana, is the proud, noble warrior princess. Colonel Miles Quaritch, Stephen Lang, is the personification of military-industrial evil, a man who chews up the scenery with the same relish he chews his gum, his every line dripping with fascistic zeal. Dr. Grace Augustine, Sigourney Weaver, the compassionate scientist, serves as the story's conscience, bridging the gap between the two cultures. There is little room for moral ambiguity here. The RDA Corporation is driven by pure, uncomplicated greed for a mineral laughably named unobtainium. and the military is its brutal, unthinking instrument. And yet, to dismiss the film solely on the basis of its narrative simplicity is to miss the point. Cameron is not a filmmaker known for his subtle, nuanced screenplays. He is a master of the mythic, a storyteller who deals in grand, elemental emotions. He understands the power of archetypes. By grounding his revolutionary technology in a story that was instantly recognizable, he made the fantastical world of Pandora accessible. The familiar narrative framework served as an anchor, allowing the audience to navigate the overwhelming newness of the visuals without getting lost. Furthermore, the story's simplicity is what gives its themes such potent, uncomplicated force. Avatar is an unabashedly, thunderously angry film. It is a furious indictment of colonialism, corporate rapacity, and humanity's suicidal disconnection from the natural world. Watching the RDA's monstrous machines tear down the Nausicaans' home tree, a sequence of horrifying, heartbreaking destruction, is a visceral experience. It is a scene that taps into a deep, primal fear of loss, of seeing something ancient and beautiful obliterated in the name of profit. Cameron doesn't just show us the destruction. He makes us feel the Nausicaans' pain, their disbelief, their rage. The film's emotional core is not subtle, but it is undeniably effective. 16 years on, these themes feel more urgent, more terrifyingly relevant than ever. In a world grappling with the escalating climate crisis, with the relentless destruction of rainforests, and with ongoing debates about corporate responsibility and indigenous rights, Avatar's message feels less like a science fiction allegory and more like a documentary of a future we are actively creating. The film's passionate environmentalism, its spiritual reverence for the interconnectedness of all life, may have seemed a bit new agey to some in 2009, but in 2025, it feels like a desperate, necessary prayer. What is perhaps most remarkable about Avatar, looking back, is the sheer, audacious sincerity of it all. In an age of filmmaking increasingly dominated by irony, cynicism, and self-referential humor, Avatar wears its heart on its sleeve. It is unabashedly romantic, spiritual, and emotional. It believes in the transformative power of love, in the possibility of redemption, and in the fundamental struggle between good and evil. There is not a single wink to the audience, not a single moment that undercuts its own earnestness. Cameron committed fully to his vision, and that unwavering commitment is what sells the world, the story, and the characters. Did it change cinema forever? In some ways, yes. It single-handedly resurrected the 3D format, for better or worse, leading to a deluge of often uninspired post-conversions. It pushed the boundaries of what was possible in visual effects, setting a new benchmark that filmmakers are still striving to reach. It proved that a film built on a completely original intellectual property, with no pre-existing fanbase, could become the highest-grossing movie of all time, a feat that feels almost impossible in today's franchise-saturated market. But its deeper impact is more subtle. Avatar was a global event that united audiences in a shared sense of wonder. In a world becoming increasingly fragmented, it was a rare piece of monoculture, a film that everyone saw and everyone talked about. It was a reminder of the unique power of the cinematic experience, of sitting in a dark room with hundreds of strangers and being transported, together, to another world. Revisiting Avatar today is a fascinating experience. The visual effects, for the most part, hold up astonishingly well. The world of Pandora remains a stunning, immersive creation. The story's flaws are, perhaps, more apparent without the initial shock and awe of the technology. But its emotional core, its righteous anger, and its profound sense of wonder remain intact. It is a film that is both a product of its time and strangely timeless. It is a simple story told with the most complex tools imaginable. It is a film that dreamed of a better world, a world where humanity could learn to live in harmony with nature, and it made us, for a few hours, believe that such a world was possible. And that, more than any box office record or technological innovation, is its true and enduring magic. It was and remains a journey worth taking.